Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we're off for more of Pikmin. In the last episode, we crash-landed onto an unknown planet that oddly seems quite familiar to Earth. Captain Olimar's here in the corner right there, Captain Olimar, crash-landed, and all 30 parts of his ship have scattered across the planet. And we need to search for them with the help of the Pikmin that we discovered in the impact site. They fly on a red, weird-looking onion. And we reclaimed our engine, so we're able to take flight and explore the planet. And we have unlocked the Forest of Hope. And there seems to be 8 ship pieces available to us in this place, which will bring our total up to 10, if we can get them all. Got the onion spinning around us. We have 25 raids starting off. Now, day 2 for me, I get really unlucky. It's kind of funny, because the way that I try to do things, I mean, this is completely different routing to what I did in the GameCube version. I'm saying that right now, because I've been experimenting, I played a few rounds, and there's a certain way I want to do things. But for whatever reason, day 2 and 3 kicked my bottom, and it just depends if I'm lucky and things go well or not. So I don't know how many times it's going to be recorded, but I'm not redoing this intro, because, as I immediately slur my speech, because that would get really old really quickly, and I'm going to hate myself. So, Forest of Hope, let's begin! So, starting off, the routes that we're going to be taking throughout this version of the game are going to be mighty different to what we did in the GameCube version because of the shorter time limit. Not only that, but it's also going to be different mainly because that we have extra reach. Although we're not going to see much of a difference of that today, but the shorter time limit's going to be a little bit bad if things don't go according to plan, and I rely quite a bit on luck on here. My dolphin has returned to the surface along with a Pikmin's onion. Being alone on this strange planet makes me somewhat uneasy, so I'll call the Pikmin out of the onion. What I need to do is stand in front of the light and press A. If you did that in the light of your ship, I'll show that off in just a moment. You can recover your health and see how much of progress you've made. Now, starting off, I want to take out 21 of our reds and immediately have them working on this wall. Just missed them. Hopefully they will work on it. Cool. And now I'll grab the last 4. It's just a lot easier to work with that way, because now we can get this food, chuck a Pikmin at this grass, this clump of grass, and then get this yellow posy. As I mentioned before, tokens of pellets, of different values of colours will not give you the exact value if it doesn't match, but that's fine. Also, we just witnessed a Pikmin drinking nectar there. I guess I'll get to that first. Another intriguing discovery. A local variety of grass produces a sort of yellow nectar. When the Pikmin drink this delicacy, they instantly mature into flowers. This apparent Pikmin favourite seems to be full of nutrition. That's a very awkward sentence for me to read. Close observations needed to determine the strengths and peculiarities of these flower Pikmin. I believe that gets put into an end-of-day log, which are random, by the way, except for the first day. But I'll just tell you what they are now, since, the game may not mention it until it's a bit late, and we're going to be seeing the benefits immediately. Flower Pikmin can take a little bit more resilience, and they're also a lot more faster to act. And red Pikmin themselves do 1.5 times damage, but I think being flowered does ever so slightly more damage on top of that. So that'd be very helpful to get through. And what I was trying to do while we're zooming out the camera there, while we're building up this nectar, which, by the way, we have one flower on the screen already. He drank a whole puddle of nectar by himself. In later Pikmin games, mainly Pikmin 3, you can only have up to 20 Pikmin, no more, no less, on a puddle of nectar until it's all used up. So it's 20 Pikmin per nectar. In this game, it could either be one, or it could be all of them on one puddle of nectar. So we want to try and get as many Pikmin on nectar as possible before they drink every puddle. Unfortunately, I lost a puddle there, which is what triggered this, but I always start with his leaves. I don't really have much choice. Now, what I was doing before that happened was trying to zoom out the camera, because of that up there at the top of the screen is a yellow onion. Obviously, it's not much of a spoilers that we have yellow and blue Pikmin in the game. They're all over the box art, so that's not a problem. Also, my Pikmin over here. I'm just waiting for these Pikmin to be done plucking the grass while we're waiting for the wall to get knocked down, because we can't really do much else at this point. Also, when you're plucking Pikmin in the Forest of Hope, for some reason it always likes to zoom in the camera, and I don't know why. I've got a lot of Nectar. This is actually a really good loadout. I had a bad loadout. This is actually a second attempt. But this is actually going really well. So we can actually Nectarize these guys. But not right now. We want to do it when we have a lot more Pikmin. Spotty Bulbs! These little babies, which are not actually babies, they're a separate species entirely. Thank you, I killed him before he digested. You can technically one-shot, but I thought it was only a janky thing in the GameCube version. That's the one-shot. It tends to be janky in Pikmin 3 in general due to hitboxes. I'm guessing it's just a lot easier to do on Pikmin 2. Want 5 Pikmin up there. There we go. Just gathering some food. I don't really care if the pellet posies don't match the onion. We're just gathering all the food that we can at the moment. Please pick it all up. You did not. I'll have to just delegate a bit there. Because they like to go for the last one that fell. There we go. That'll do it. They're all taking that, and I've got 7 along with me, so I can one-shot these guys, if fate permits. Good. No, that's not good. Join the fight! I lost 1. That's not too bad. I want to have roughly 75 reds, if everything goes well. Please pick up the same corpse, thank you. And we have our first ship piece already! Why? It's the Eternal Fuel Dynamo. It has unlimited energy supply. I won't have to worry about saving electricity anymore. It'll make my fight for survival a bit easier. What do you mean, survival electricity anymore? It's only been 1 night. Bit weird. I'm guessing the description was like, oh, it's supposed to be intended for later on in the game, but really, it doesn't really matter what pieces you get back, except for a few exceptions. It just matters if you get the pieces back. So, but they all require certain amounts of Pikmin. I think that's what a Pikmin randomizer does, so that's a thing now. Items, pellets, enemies, as well as ship parts, they're all randomized. But there is one particular piece that we do want to get at the end of the day. And it is going to be at the end of the day, which is going to be a bit of a mad scramble. Right, cool. Let's get these guys. While I'm waiting for them to just get the food in there, I'm just going to toss 10 on this. I'm going to toss 1 on that pellet over there, and that'll be it. I do. And that should be all of the Pikmin that I need. So while I'm waiting for all this to come back, I'm going to chuck my Pikmin onto this fuel dynamo as well. Actually, I need a couple more Pikmin. There we are, 40. That's exactly what I needed. Right, everybody over it. Thank you. Do not lock onto any of these pellets and stuff. Let's just get this part back. 40 exactly. Some of these Pikmin did not lock onto it for some reason, so I'll just toss them on there. While everyone's getting back, I can then pluck out all the Pikmin, and then we can Nectarize them and get on with the rest of the day. Because we got a twig wall over there, and twig walls we can bash down, as we've already done to get out of our home base for this place, the Forest of Hope. Let's keep gathering our Pikmin here. We're actually pretty close to our the amount of Pikmin that we would like to have. Unfortunately, I've fallen a little bit short. I think it's because of the pellets that the pellet posies grew, as well as my 1 Pikmin loss. That can impact, but that's all the reds I'm going to get for today. Sorry for that pause, I thought I was being called. Speaking of being called, these Pikmin are about to be called in a minute, because they're almost here. In fact, I'm just going to chuck the rest of my Pikmin on there, just get back just a tad bit quickly. And notice that there's a limit on how many Pikmin can carry something. I think it's only a limit on pellets from 1 pellets for 2, but we've got a lot of Nectar to work with, so I want to be flowering all my Pikmin up. The Eternal The Eternal Fuel Dynamo. This should light things up. No more candles for me. I now have recovered 2 out of 30 ship parts. If I can just find 3 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. Woo! Wait, why did all of them... Okay, why are not all of them getting called? Right. Oh, sugar. Well, that went terribly. I got thrown off by the fact that my whistle wasn't working properly. I guess I'll try to clump them up. And drink! Drink! Okay, that actually went really good. Yeah, so sometimes... I don't know what is up with the Wii versions of the first 2 Pikmin games, but they all seem to have a bit of a weird issue. For Pikmin 2, when I press the B button, sometimes the whistle just doesn't go off. And when I'm trying to whistle Pikmin in this game, the whistle does go off, but they just ignore the whistle. My god, he exploded! That was pretty good. Right, I want a few Pikmin on here. Give me a couple back. Just need a couple for overflow, that's it. So while they're working on that wall, which gets us to the yellow onion, I want this group over here. Those pile of twigs over there, that's actually a bridge that we can build, but I don't need to worry about that for now. I'm just going to dismiss my Pikmin and walk into the water. Pikmin cannot go in the water, they will drown. You can get nectar from these little rocks as well. There's a tuft of grass there, and another chip part, which is what we're working towards. It's the shock absorber. This apparatus counteracts the shaking and swaying that normally occurs during flight. It's smooth sailing with this in place, usually. It's a stabilizer. I guess it just couldn't work with the impacts that the meteor caused. I want to wake up this big bulb, excuse me. It's still a spotty bulb, but it's just a big one. Not considered an adult. Again, in Pikmin 2, it's explained and it's kind of weird. Oh, don't want to do that. Please don't turn around. Oh god, he turned around. No, 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 no. That's wasting time. Bollocks. Please turn around and go back to sleep. No. What the hell? Turn around and go back to sleep. Wasting time. And they finished on the wall. That's a little bit annoying because I should have already been grabbing this piece. That was a bit of a stupid thing on my part. I chucked my Pikmin a little bit too early. That's also the fastest speed that you can chuck Pikmin normally. If I was moving ever so slightly, I could chuck Pikmin a bit faster, but obviously I've got to move and chuck. I need to kill this guy, because if we can get this piece, they will come through the way that we're coming through right now. My clock has indicated the coming of noon. From now on, I must pay close attention to the sun meter on my monitor and choose my actions accordingly. So it's best for me to review my monitor's data. So I haven't really talked about the HUD much, but you could have probably saw how it was working at the bottom of the screen. Across the top of the monitor is the sun display meter, as it went half day. That's when we got this little tutorial. At the bottom are my spacesuit damage meters and Pikmin gauges. So that little green circle thing that I mentioned in the last episode is our health. From the left to the right, these numbers reflect Pikmin under Oliver's command. Then the next number is Pikmin in the field, which maxes out at 100. Even if later games go higher due to higher power, it still goes to only a maximum of 100. The reason being is that when the GameCube first came out, it was built off of a tech demo for the GameCube, which was called Mario 128. There are 128 Marios, all with individual AI, doing stuff. And, well, look at this. We have 100 Pikmin doing stuff with their own separate AI. Now, the reason why it can't go any higher is because, obviously, you have yourself, which is an entity, and then the computer also has to control enemies. So that would be filling the other 28 spots. And of course, as I mentioned, even though later consoles like the Wii U as well as the Switch can technically control way more enemies and AIs and stuff, that number 100 doesn't increase for the sake of being a strategy game. Why increase the limit? I mean, maybe you could find items that increase the limit. That would be pretty cool. But that hasn't happened yet. Anyways, to adjust my monitor, I can press Z to rotate. It just gives you another view of the controls. We don't really need that. What we do need to do is bundle this guy, and hopefully he dies. Good, he died. Did I lose? I think I lost one Pikmin due to Void Out, because I had 71. Thankfully, we only need 30 on here, so they should all go on. Why are you all just standing there? Excuse me! I'm whistling you! I should mention that the longer that you hold down the whistle button, it expands. But it's not the length of the whistle. If they hear the whistle, they should just get called. For some reason in the Wii version, they just don't listen. Right, I got 38 here to work with. That's actually pretty cool. Let's kill the baby first. Oh, that was really good. Don't pick it up, please. Come back. And we have reached the yellow onion with just under half the day to spare. And a lot of food for it to grab. But we're only going to have the one sprout. Thankfully, they didn't smack us in the face. Now, while that is getting ready to be plucked, we have our reds. We can bundle this guy. Hopefully it doesn't go bad. There we are, corn back. I lost another one due to Void Out. Yeah, that's... I haven't explained that yet. I'm losing Pikmin to Void Out because when a big enemy lands, even after death, they can push Pikmin out of bounds and they die. That only seems to happen more often in the Wii version than the GameCube version. If I did bum rushes like that in the GameCube version, I would not lose any Pikmin. It's a weird issue with the Wii version. The colour is different, but it seems to be a Pikmin nonetheless. At first glance, it suggests this one is what, in some circles, be considered very large ears. It looks like it may weigh less than the others. What, because it catches wind under its ears? This means it can be thrown higher than other Pikmin. So if there's stuff out of reach, yellow Pikmin are the right ones for the job. What other ways might they be different from the red Pikmin? I must be sure to observe it closely. I can hold a Pikmin for a moment and then swap it. And by swapping, that's really good, because it was very awkward to do in the GameCube version. That it's just easier to dismiss and then grab the one that you want. They didn't actually properly introduce it into Pikmin 2, but it is in Pikmin 1 for the Wii. Not only that, but if you're holding the A button and then press down with the D-pad, you can swap between ranks as well, which is something that wasn't in the original Pikmin 2 either for GameCube. It allows you to go from leaves, well, from what you're holding in order, leaves to buds to flowers. So if you want your flowers to do something in particular, you can just do that. So you press B to swap out your Pikmin, and then you press down to swap the rank. And with this guy, I'm going to immediately get on with it. How did you get up there? It was not... Wow. And for some reason, I always have to give the Wii Remote a wiggle while pointing at the screen. It's like, I don't move my hand while I'm already pointing at the screen. For some reason, it just doesn't find it. Shock Absorber. This nifty little device counteracts the shaking and swaying experienced in typical spaceflight. I've now recovered 3 out of 30 ship parts. If I can just find 2 more, should be able to increase this ship's capabilities. I am on a motor mouth today. Get down from there and grab a pellet. And I'm not having the Reds pick up anything, because they will take it. The amount of Pikmin holding an item, whatever is the most quantity that's holding an item, they will go to that onion. So if I had more Reds picking up something than yellows, it will go to the red onion and the yellows will assist. So you can do that in case if you're a little bit low on numbers and you want to, if you want the reds or yellows or whatever colour that you want to have a little bit of assistance, you're able to do so. But it's probably not recommended if you're trying to go fast, because if you're probably going to swarm and not chug. However, if I can get at least 6 yellows, I'll have the reds help out. There we are, that'll do. Alright, come on. Come on, guys. That'll just be more to deal with. Toss them back in the pile. This is why I always want to have a little few reds on the side. I'll probably have more than necessary, but the rest of our reds are back at base anyway, so we don't have to worry about that too much. We're just trying to build up our yellows as much as possible. One of the Pikmin that were following me went to the big one instead. That's a little bit annoying. There's the swapping at work. Okay, I didn't one-shot the posy, that's fine. Don't go... Okay, whatever. We'll just deal with it, I guess. Just chucking some reds over there for now, because I don't want to... Somehow I got on top of the wall. Don't know how I managed that. Let's grab the rest of these. Should be 99, because I lost a couple of reds. Yep. Because I'm bringing yellow pellets into the yellow onion, therefore I'm getting an additional 1. Because they're all 1 pellets. Oh, wow, they sprouted as I was walking around. I have a little few more yellows out than I normally do at this point, but that's because I lost a few reds. Now, unless you were experimenting and you were just playing the game normally, and you had no idea what these are, you wouldn't know that you could actually pick these up unless yellows just randomly decide to grab them when you're trying to deal with this wall, because you would try to whack it down, because you'd be stuck here for so long. The yellow Pikmin has picked up a peculiar stone. Why did it decide to grab it? This action seems to be instinctive to the yellow Pikmin only. But just what are these strange glowing stones? Brightly glowing cracks cover them. Perhaps these cracks indicate there's some tremendous power locked within. This merits further research. In beta, early betas, there were sprites for having multiple Pikmin holding these bomb rocks. The glowing rocks the yellow Pikmin pick up seem to be explosive stones. Perhaps they know that these stones can be used as powerful weapons. Bomb rocks are dangerous, so I must take care when using them, but they should be able to blast open the stone walls that block the pathways. May even be able to use them against some of the wild creatures. Now, only yellow Pikmin can hold bomb rocks, but in Pikmin 3, they return to what it was in the beta, where every Pikmin can hold bomb rocks. And if you dismiss your Pikmin, and some of them are holding bomb rocks, yellows and yellows holding bomb rocks will be in their own separate piles. They will not merge. And because these are bomb rocks, you want to stay away. They can kill a lot of Pikmin if you're not careful. And you can get hurt as well. I must be vigilant. When I throw a bomb rock carrying Pikmin and give them orders, they will throw their bomb rocks at nearby walls or obstacles. This includes enemies as well. As like, for example, a big spotty Bulborb, it takes about 2 to kill one. But it's not really worth it, in my opinion. The explosive power of these bomb rocks is tremendous, so I must keep my distance. I must also mention that they will drop them in the GameCube version sometimes when you whistle. It was actually an unintended glitch. Sometimes when you whistle bomb rock holding Pikmin with a long whistle press, they might, or even a short whistle press, they may drop the bomb rocks, and that is bad. Even if you have dismissed your Pikmin are still in the vicinity of the bombs, so that's kind of a bad thing. It's just separated so you can whistle them a lot easier. In the Wii version, however, that's not a thing, so I can whistle rock holding Pikmin without issue. Pointer, please. Right, I want to toss both of these at the same time, because that will knock down the wall immediately. There we go. And we're immediately going to dismiss and get my reds. Oh, I didn't mean to grab a yellow there. I was just making sure my reds were all through, but that's fine. Only because we've got a bunch of enemies here that we want to take care of. Spotted Bulborb's not a problem, but these purple bugs with pincers, they're male shear grubs. If they get a Pikmin in their pincers, they will not die or take any of the damage that they have received until they get their one kill. The ones that are white and do not attack are the female shear grubs, but they're not a problem. I'm just trying to kill these. I'm trying to toss so that I don't lose them to the males, but not doing the best. But I don't need to worry about the females. They're not a problem. What I do need to do is get my red Pikmin up here so they can reach it. This is our last ship part, and I want to get this back before anything else, which is why I'm prioritizing this. Also, killing any enemies, as long as the enemy loadout doesn't change in between days. Oh my god, how's that even working? You know what? I'll take it. Oh, they fixed themselves. Yay! It's my Whimsical Radar. With this, I'll be able to see all nearby ship parts in a single glance. Just need to press the plus button to check it. This find fills me with great hope. This is one of those ship parts that are not only required, but actually have an additional effect. And that effect is, well, if we press plus right now, give us half of this screen that is deactivated. We will have our map, which is perfect. We'll be able to see all Pikmin as well as ship parts. So we definitely want to get this back. And that's why I prioritized it. Again, as I was about to say, all enemies killed will stay dead unless the... oh, okay, they're grabbing that. Nice. You know what? Let's go grab some bomb rocks now. I don't really need to grab this food. I'm just doing it now because it's just going to make things a lot easier. Plus, I have the Pikmin here. It's actually gone a lot smoother than I was expecting. Despite... Okay. There were no more bomb rocks in there. I killed all the enemies so that they won't, as long as the enemy loadout doesn't change in between days, they won't respawn, which is the best thing. I want as many bomb rocks as possible. Come on, guys. There we go. That's another thing in the GameCube version. If they were to pick up any bomb rocks, and they picked up the same bomb rock at the same time, you could duplicate bomb rocks, because they picked up the same one, they will register as having one held. That's been fixed in the Wii version as well, so we have less bomb rocks to work with less time. The Whimsical Radar, this important part, can detect the locations of the other missing ship parts. The radar will be added to my monitor, which I can press plus to view. Up or down, zooms in and out. This will surely help me in the search for the remaining parts. I've now recovered 4 out of 30 ship parts. If I can just find one more, I should be able to increase the ship's capabilities, which we're not going to be able to scrounge up today. I don't think. My plan says no, but because this is already kind of incredibly close, and I actually got this a little bit earlier than intended. Those sheer grubs give me a lot of problems. But I have bombs here, and we also got a lot more food for the yellows as well. We've only now just hit red. We can ignore the females for now. Black walls take a lot more bomb rocks and a lot more abuse to get through. The clock is indicating the approach of sunset. Pikmin waiting beneath the onion and the dolphin will enter the onions on their own. But if I don't call the stragglers and add them to my group, they may not be able to get back. I'm sure that the Pikmin still planted are safe, and you can only get them if you come back the next day and pick them up. But I am somewhat concerned about leaving Pikmin to fend for themselves in the darkness. Once again, that deactivates my pointer for a moment, which I don't like. Okay, they dropped all 3. That's cool. I have made yet another Pikmin-related discovery, just when I was about to exceed 100 Pikmin in the field, because the yellows just brought their foods back to the onions, which I should have had a lot earlier, but we lost a couple along the way, so it didn't happen when I was ready to go with my yellows. The onions stopped expelling seeds, yet the total number of Pikmin continued to climb. It seems that at once there are 100 Pikmin in the field, in the local area at least, subsequent seeds get stored inside the onion. Thus, no more than Pikmin can be in the field at any time in any area. Yeah, this takes a lot of abuse. That's why I'm taking my time chucking these. And yeah, there's another ship part right behind there. And we don't need our bomb rocks for anything else. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come over here and at least pluck these Pikmin, because that's going to be a pain otherwise. But we have a couple more bomb rocks, and we can use these to our advantage. So I'm going to try and make a beeline directly back to base. And I'm going to pause right now to check to make sure that we have all Pikmins in, well, under the onions or in home base, which will be, well, where everyone's clumped up right in there. You can see each individual dot, which is pretty cool. One thing to make note, though, for whatever reason, when the countdown is at 3 or lower, you can't access this menu. And I think that's incredibly dickish. If I wanted to use these bomb rocks the best time, I would probably use them here. But I want to try and get back to home base with these bomb rocks so I can use them on that wall right behind base, because it's another brick wall. I'm checking my team. Oh god, I've got a straggler. He must have tripped. There's also a leaf, which doesn't help. Yeah, I'm not going to have enough time to chuck them. I'm not going to risk it. If I whistle these guys, I should have 100. Yes! Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to risk chucking the Pikmin, because while he's dropping the bomb, he's technically out of my team. And yes, he's in base, but it may not necessarily get counted because he's in the middle of doing a job. And normally you don't do jobs in home base. So I wasn't going to risk that. So those bomb rocks got wasted, but that's not a problem. They all respawn at the beginning of another day, so we did as much as we could with the time we had allotted. Where the hell were they going? I'm guessing it's because they decided to try and follow the yellows, and they had to walk cross-country to get to their onion. Oh, bulbs! Yep, we definitely don't want to be leaving our Pikmin alone at night. 2 days since impact. It appears that many of my ship's parts have landed in this region. If I could just recover the parts of my radar, I should be able to use my radar screen. How would that improve my chances? Then I only have to press plus to locate my parts. Day 2's entry talks about the radar, but I always make it my goal to get the radar before the end of the day, because then it's easy to plan your route for further days. If you get it midday, I mean, you've just kind of stumbled upon it, and then you can plan ahead after that. But even though we have got it, he's saying that if we could just find it. We have, but we didn't get to use it to find parts this time, although we just blew open a wall to get a part immediately. But if we want an easier route, we need to take down that wall in base. There seem to be many hostile lifeforms here. If I am attacked and my spacesuit takes damage, I must return to my ship, stand in front of it, and press A to make suit repairs. As I explore, I must pay attention to my suit's damage meter at the bottom left corner of the screen. If you lose all your spacesuit's energy, you will be returned to the end of the day. And all Pikmin with you, I believe, die. Same thing can happen with a Pikmin extinction if you lose all your Pikmin. You'll go to the end of the day, and, well, you're practically screwed. You'll have to rebuild your team. But that's not going to happen, so that's why I'm talking about Pikmin extinctions. Because what will happen is if you go to... Once you end the day, because you got knocked out or you lost all Pikmin, well, you have no Pikmin. You can't grab any food to make any Pikmin. You literally cannot do anything. So, the day ends. But when you come back the next day, every onion will spit out 1 seed, so you can try to rebuild. I'm guessing it accesses some sort of reserve power. Would be nice if it did that throughout the day, but I'm guessing it takes the whole night in order to do that. To sprout 1 Pikmin from reserve power. But as you see here, we sprouted 94 Pikmin. We only lost 7 in battle. I mean, some of them got voided out. That's just something we're going to have to accept on the Wii version of Pikmin 1. Doesn't happen as much often in Pikmin 2, or Pikmin on GameCube, but it can still happen. Well, with that, guys, we have completed day 2. A lot of tutorial-heavy descriptions, as well as strategies going through and what things do what. And I'm 10 reds down than what I would like to be, but we can still build up our numbers as we go. And with already 1/3 of the Forest of Hope complete, I'll see you guys next time.